We all love to hate politicians. We may even wish that politicians could just vanish from our lives, simply disappear. But sometimes, politicians do vanish without a trace, forever. These are 10 politicians who simply vanished one day, without a trace. Viktar Grayson, British socialist rabble-rouser. Viktar Grayson was a working-class socialist politician and activist in the early 1900s. He was a noted firebrand who often attacked the wealthy establishment that comprised the House of Commons at the time. But he was a raging alcoholic and lost his parliamentary seat in 1910. It was whilst drinking with friends at a pub one night in September of 1920 that Grayson received a mysterious message calling him to Queen's Hotel in London's Leicester Square. He told his friends he would be back soon, walked out, and was never seen again. The most enduring rumor is that he was murdered for being on the verge of exposing a huge political scandal. John Lansing, American Founding Father. John Lansing was a wealthy lawyer who served 6 terms in the New York Assembly from 1780 to 1788. In 1790, he was appointed to the United States Supreme Court and was its Chief Justice from 1798 to 1801. Most notably, Lansing was a member of the New York delegation at the Constitutional Convention held in Philadelphia that created the U.S. Constitution. On December 12, 1829, Lansing walked out of the New York City hotel and vanished. The police surmised that he was probably murdered by thugs at the waterfront or even drowned. No founding father of America had a more mysterious demise than John Lansing. Albert Jennings Fountain, Wild West pioneer. Albert Jennings Fountain was a hardy, no-nonsense politician who won a seat in the Texas Senate in 1869. He was a colorful character. Not only did he fight Geronimo in New Mexico, but he also defended Billy the Kid in his murder trial in 1881. He was elected to the New Mexico State Legislature in 1888 and became a champion lawyer for local Latinos. It was during a wagon journey back home on February 1, 1896, that Fountain and his 8-year-old son, Henry, disappeared. The wagon was eventually found, near which was a large patch of blood, but neither Fountain nor his young son were ever found. It's ironic that a man named Fountain disappeared in the desert. Frederick McDonald, Australian MP. Frederick McDonald was president of the Teachers' Federation of New South Wales before being elected as an MP for the Labour Party in 1922. He lost the 1925 election to Thomas Lay, which McDonald contested on the grounds that Lay had tried to bribe him. McDonald disappeared on April 15, 1926, while on his way to see the Premier of New South Wales in order to discuss getting the election results declared void. He was never found. It was widely believed that Lay had murdered his political opponent. This belief only strengthened when Lay was later convicted of murder in England and declared insane. Juliet Stuart Poyntz, American communist activist. Juliet Poyntz is the only woman on this list. She was an outspoken socialist and activist on issues such as the suffragette movement and labor, and was one of the founding members of the U.S. Communist Party in 1920. Poyntz went in 1934 to work for the OGPU, the Russian secret police. However, in Moscow, she became disenchanted with the violent Stalinist purges taking place in the USSR and returned to New York. One night in June 1937, she left her hotel room with unfinished writing on her desk and was never seen again. Many believed she was killed by the Russian Secret Service as she was about to write a book exposing the horrors of Stalin. But the truth will never be known. Judge Joseph Crater, corrupt New York judge. Judge Crater was a politically very well-connected lawyer. The New York judge was president of the Democratic Party in Manhattan and was appointed as a New York Supreme Court judge. He had strong ties to corrupt Democratic politicians. On August 6, 1930, Crater was observed destroying various documents in his office and disappeared that night. His disappearance was a sensation, and he became known as the missingest man in New York. For decades thereafter, the phrase, "to pull a Crater," was slang for someone who suddenly disappeared. It was even rumored that his body was buried under the boardwalk at Coney Island. Hale Boggs and Nick Begich, 2 U.S. congressmen. On October 16, 1972, 2 United States representatives boarded a small Cessna aircraft in Anchorage bound for the Alaskan capital, Juneau. The congressmen were Hale Boggs, a Democrat representing Louisiana, and the House Majority Leader and Democratic Representative Nick Begich of Alaska. Neither the aircraft nor any of the bodies of the 4 men on board were ever found, even after what was then the largest search mission ever conducted in America. An anonymous tipster to the FBI, who claimed to know where the crash site was located, only added to the mysterious disappearance of U.S. Representatives Boggs and Begich. Mehdi bin Barka, Moroccan revolutionary politician. Ben Barka founded the left-wing political party National Union of Popular Forces in 1959 and was widely touted as the man to become president of a possible Republic of Morocco. He went into exile in Paris in 1963, by which time he had been tried in absentia for an alleged treason plot against King Hassan and sentenced to death. Ironically, he had once been a math tutor to the king. Ben Barka disappeared outside a brasserie in Paris on October 29, 1965, after he was stopped and taken away by 2 French policemen. In 2001, a Moroccan Secret Service agent made the stunning claim that Ben Barka had been killed in the south of France and his body flown to Morocco and dissolved in an acid bath. Viktar Hanchar, Belarusian opposition leader. A law graduate, Hanchar was just 37 years old when he was appointed as vice president of the newly formed Republic of Belarus in 1994. But he soon grew wary of the dictatorial tendencies of President Alexander Lukashenko and was a key figure in the unsuccessful parliamentary effort to impeach Lukashenko in 1996. Hanchar and his friend and business associate Anatol Krasuski disappeared outside a Minsk bathhouse on September 16, 1999. It was on the very same day that Lukashenko had ordered that his security chiefs crack down on opposition scum. Lukashenko continues to rule Belarus with an iron fist. Harold Holt, Australian Prime Minister. Our final entry is the only person on this list who was a leader of a country at the time of their disappearance. That person was Harold Holt. He was elected to Australia's House of Representatives at the age of just 27 and became Prime Minister of Australia in 1966. On December 17, 1967, Holt disappeared whilst swimming in rough waters at Victoria's Cheviot Beach. Conspiracy theories regarding Holt's disappearance have abounded since, ranging from him faking his death so he could run off with a mistress, to even being whisked away by a Chinese submarine. He had been in office for just 692 days before his disappearance. This just goes to show that even prime ministers of major nations can just disappear one day and leave their entire country wondering what happened to their leader. And there ends the list of political notables who just disappeared, never to be seen again. For more top lists just like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out our other lists, and thanks for watching, and thanks for learning.